This is Rock Leach with Social Fire. Now, I know everybody's all up in arms about this number one Netflix movie right now, The Deliverance. Yeah, you know, church folk and everybody upset about it, but nobody is talking about how 64% of church folk and 50% of pastors have a pornography problem. Oh, nobody want to talk about that. You don't want to miss this video. Okay, this is Rock Leach with Social Fire. And, you know, everybody's up in arms about this movie, The Deliverance, you know, talking about the spirituality of it, the demons and different things of that nature. And it's, you know, black folk don't like to deal with that. I'm just going to go ahead and say that, you know, all the way back to, the poltergeist, and even further back than that. And, you know, just going to go ahead and give you my personal experience when it comes to horror movies, different movies of that nature. Now, growing up, my father, shout out to Elder David Stinnett. Want to shout out to him. But my father, growing up, and there were 6 boys, I have 5 brothers, he didn't allow us to watch horror movies. He didn't believe in it. And I believe that he didn't want us to watch it. We hadn't had the conversation, but I just took that to my children and kept the same thing going. I didn't allow my children when children came for me, I didn't allow them to watch horror movies either. And, you know, as a young man, I was grateful that he did that because I didn't know how to be scared like everybody else. I didn't know the noise in the hall was, you know, somebody out there because they saw it in a movie that was just going to kill them or harm them. I didn't have those fears. Now, there's nothing wrong being cautious, but just being fearful of everything. I wasn't able to conjure these things up because sometimes television and these movies help you to learn behaviors, learn things that you just don't need to learn. And so my daughter, all my children are grown, but my daughter says to me, Dad, I'm glad that you did that because she does it for her children now. And so it is just something that I believe is necessary because we just don't do that. And so I'm looking at this whole thing that we're talking about with all the things that are going on in the world. We're all on this movie about The Deliverance. Now, I'm going to go ahead and react and share with you several things from the movie. This is not a spoiler alert or anything like that. I don't really care about the movie to that degree, but I am going to go ahead and give you some information on the movie. So there was a lot of backlash, different things of that nature on this movie. Now, I went and looked, and, you know, Glenn Close was in this movie, and it's Lee Daniels. You know, Lee Daniels and Monique actually made up, and that's good. That's a wonderful thing. We happy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They made up. They made up. But honestly, if I'm just being honest with you, I didn't care about that. I didn't care. I think that's a show business thing. I don't even think that it's sincerity. I think Monique just really wanted to get paid. She was blackballed and wanted to get paid again. And Lee Daniels and, you know, Tyler Perry was I think more Tyler Perry, she was calling them gatekeepers. Whatever. They've reconciled. She's in the movie and she's getting paid. And I think that was her whole agenda. It wasn't about the apology. You need to put me back on. And so, that's more of what's going on here. But just looking at this, I wanted to look into the backlash, and there were several things that I saw. Now, according to Yahoo Movies, it said The Deliverance quickly went viral because of a scene from the film that was shared online. It features Close's character, Alberta, there was this white character who was in the hood or whatever, which of course was Glenn Close. When she had been possessed by a demonic entity, and tells her daughter that she can smell her nappy, Pussy. Now, of course, people in there, that's not a word that I use. I don't talk like that I have 4 daughters, and I have not once used that word with my daughters. And so this went viral on social media, and I looked at it. You know, this actually shows the clip right here that was on Twitter. I think it got like maybe 9 million views on Twitter, which is now X. And then Lee Daniels actually responded to it and said he had to do it. You know, the post said that Lee Daniels, you will pay for your crimes for having Glenn Close say this. And you're talking about the movie, The Deliverance, and he said had to do it. Now, the movie was what it was. You know, I'm not really a person that's just going to come in on the movie to say watch it or don't watch it. You do what you want to do, but you have to be careful about what you are allowing yourself to feed into your spirit. Now, I'm just going to say that there are a lot of things that are out here that can feed into our spirits wrong. Now, one of the things that I have to bring up is that we are so focused on this movie that we're actually ignoring a problem that's happening inside of the church right now, and that's over half the church. This is over half. Have a pornography problem. Some people in your church may have an OnlyFans page. You don't know that. You don't. And I'm gonna go even further. I believe some pastors don't even care. But I'm gonna go. Yeah, yeah. Some pastors don't even care. Some of them don't even care. So yeah, I understand the outrage, but some just don't care. And we're looking at all these things that are going on right here. Could it be that you're concerned about this movie right here and whether we should watch it or whether we should not watch it? But we're not tackling a real problem that's going on inside of the Black community and the church, which is pornography. And 64%, do y'all hear me? 64% of people, that's a known stat, and 50% of pastors, that's even worse. So your pastor could be praying over you, reading the Bible and watching some other ungodly things that he shouldn't be watching. And I believe that the church is guilty of picking and choosing what we have a problem with and what we don't. Now, I do believe in demonology. I do believe it. I believe in Ephesians 6 and 12, which is right there. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. I also believe, and I'm going to help you here, in 1 Corinthians 6 and 18, flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside of the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. Now, here's the thing that's going on. We're concerned with this movie, and that's not the big problem with the movie Netflix. There are other sites that we need to be talking about. And I believe that conversation needs to be had because it is a bigger problem than whether somebody should watch this movie on Netflix or not. Are we going to talk about that? Are we going to have that conversation? People are not talking about that, but that's one of the things we do on this channel. We're going to talk about what everybody else is not talking about. So this movie, whether you watch it or not, demons are real. Let me say that for most of you that don't believe it. Demons are real. Demons are real. And I've never seen so much outrage because whenever there are other movies that are out here, Russell Crowe did a movie about demons and different things of that nature where he was doing an exorcism. There have been all kind of movies like that, but this movie right here with the Black community was an outrage, and people it's got high numbers and stuff like that. But we're not talking about how many millions and millions and millions of people who have this other problem. And it's inside of the church, and we're not talking about it. So I just brought that up because the movie is, it's a movie. I don't care. I didn't personally watch the movie. I'm just going to be even more honest with you. If you watch the movie, you need to look at it from where you are. I believe in deliverance. I believe in laying hands, casting out devils. I believe in all of it. I have the Holy Ghost. I have the power of the Holy Ghost. And I believe in casting out devils. I believe the enemies know who has the power and who doesn't have the power. Basically, who has the faith and who does not have the faith to cast them out. I believe that they do know who to bother and who not to bother. But here's another thing. The reason that some of you all can't cast out devils is because you got so much personal sin against yourself that you're dealing with. And just because nobody sees you, you think that you're just free. But what that does is that warps your witness, that dilutes your power. And it's just something that we're not talking about that makes us less effective in those situations like the Deliverance presents. When somebody has a real devil that needs to be cast out, a real demon that has to be cast out, and you think just because people see you, pastors, up standing before people speaking a word, that they see you doing that you are anointed to be able to do that. And this is how the enemy knows who to go after and who not to go after. Sometimes the enemy is laughing at you when you show up and call yourself going to cast something out, because the enemy knows that you spend your time not in the word, but you spend your time in another word. We'll just say that, in other words. So I just wanted to bring that up because this is something that's going on, and people were outraged because of some trivial things, whether she said that, it's all kind of things that go on in movies and different things that, I usually don't do movie reviews, but I do have a problem when the church focuses on the wrong thing. If we're going to focus on what we're watching, we need to look at all these other shows, these gangster shows, these mob movies and different things like that. And some folk just don't need to watch it. You don't need to watch it because it's teaching you things subliminally that you're not aware that's being fed to you. And this is why I have a problem with woke television, because they're teaching our children some things that they should not be teaching them. So we need to guard what is being taught at our house so that we can to make sure that we are the only ones that's teaching at our house. We need to be careful of what shows that's being watched, stuff that you just arbitrarily allow the TV to be on. This is why I don't believe in cable. I don't believe in cable, not from a space of whether you should cut the cord or anything like that. I just don't believe in my TV just being on arbitrarily, feeding things into the household, speaking things into the household. We don't do that around here, and I advise that you don't do it as well. Anyway, I want to know what your thoughts are. Jump in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on this whole Deliverance movie, and we got a real big deliverance problem in the church: pornography. Let's go. Let's talk about it.